Discipline, often misunderstood, is not a cage that confines us, but a key that sets us free. It is the art of aligning our inner world with our highest potential, a process as natural as a tree reaching toward the sun. Imagine your mind as a vast and fertile garden. Without care, weeds of distraction and chaos take over, but with mindful discipline, this garden flourishes with clarity, focus, and purpose. Let us explore how, through disciplined practice, we can anchor ourselves in the present, balance effort and surrender, and unlock the boundless freedom of a well-tended mind. True freedom, though often misunderstood, does not arise from the absence of structure, but from the mastery of it. Many people equate freedom with doing whatever they wish, whenever they wish, without boundaries or obligations. Yet this approach, while seemingly liberating, often leads to chaos, confusion, and even paralysis. Imagine a musician sitting before a piano. Without the discipline of practice, the hours spent mastering scales, chords, and technique, the musician would be unable to create music. The freedom to express oneself through art, to improvise with elegance and creativity, comes only after one has first committed to the discipline that builds the foundation. Discipline is not the enemy of freedom, it is its greatest ally. It teaches us how to channel our desires, instincts, and impulses into something greater, something meaningful. Left unchecked, the mind can be like a restless child, darting from one thought to the next, consumed by fleeting pleasures or overwhelmed by fear. But when we discipline the mind, we tame its wild nature not by suppressing it, but by guiding it. A disciplined mind is not a mind chained, it is a mind empowered, a mind that knows when to act and when to be still. Consider how discipline functions in the natural world. The river flowing freely is shaped and directed by the banks that contain it. Without these boundaries, the river would become a formless flood, incapable of sustaining life. Similarly, a bird soaring through the sky owes its freedom to the discipline of its wings, honed by instinct and practice, enabling it to glide, dive, and rise. In much the same way, human beings thrive when their lives are guided by the discipline that provides structure and purpose. Without it, we risk being swept away by the currents of indecision, distraction, or impulsiveness. The paradox of freedom through discipline becomes clearer when we examine our daily lives. Imagine waking each morning without a sense of purpose, without a plan for the day. Initially, it might feel exhilarating, as if the entire world is yours to explore. But over time, the absence of direction can lead to dissatisfaction and a sense of aimlessness. On the other hand, setting intentions, creating rituals, and cultivating habits may seem restrictive at first, yet these practices create the conditions for true freedom, the freedom to grow, to achieve, and to experience life fully. Discipline also frees us from the tyranny of our lower instincts. The mind, if left to its own devices, often gravitates toward what is easiest, most pleasurable, or most immediate. This is why we procrastinate, overindulge, or avoid challenges. But discipline helps us rise above these tendencies, allowing us to make choices that align with our higher goals and values. It's not about denying ourselves joy or pleasure, but about recognizing that lasting fulfillment often requires effort, patience, and perseverance. A disciplined mind learns to delay gratification, to choose what is meaningful over what is convenient, and in doing so, it discovers a deeper, more enduring sense of satisfaction. Freedom through discipline is not about rigidly adhering to rules or forcing ourselves into conformity. It's about understanding the rhythms of life and learning how to work with them rather than against them. When we discipline our minds, we become attuned to the ebb and flow of energy, the interplay of action and rest, the balance between striving and surrender. We begin to see that discipline is not a straitjacket, but a dancer way of moving through life with grace, focus, and intention. Ultimately, the greatest gift of discipline is that it allows us to fully inhabit our lives. By committing to practices that nurture our minds, bodies, and spirits, we create the space to explore our potential, to connect deeply with ourselves and others, and to engage with the world in meaningful ways. Discipline, then, is not an end in itself, but a means to an end, the freedom to live a life that is rich, vibrant, and truly our own. The mind is much like a garden, rich, fertile, and filled with potential. Left unattended, it becomes overrun with weeds. Doubts, distractions, fears, and negative thoughts take root and grow unchecked. But with care, intention, and discipline, the same garden can flourish, producing beauty, clarity, and growth. To discipline the mind is to assume the role of the gardener. It is a conscious, ongoing act of cultivation, one that requires both patience and persistence. In a neglected garden, weeds often outgrow the flowers because they require less attention. Similarly, the mind, left untended, gravitates toward negativity and distraction. It's easier to succumb to doubt than to foster confidence, to dwell on problems rather than envision solutions. This is not because the mind is inherently flawed, but because it is a natural state of entropy. Things left alone tend to drift toward chaos. Discipline, then, is the act of bringing order to this chaos, of deliberately choosing what we want to grow in the garden of our minds. Imagine each thought you have as a seed. Some seeds are nourishing and uplifting, like those of gratitude, curiosity, and determination. Others are invasive, draining the soil of its vitality, like fear, resentment, and self-doubt. The key to disciplining the mind is recognizing which seeds you are watering. Every time you entertain a thought, dwell on an idea, or repeat a belief, you are feeding it, helping it grow stronger. By cultivating awareness, you can begin to choose your focus deliberately, nurturing the thoughts that align with your goals and values while letting the others wither from neglect. This process is not about forcing the mind into submission, but about working with it, much like a gardener works with the seasons and soil. You cannot make flowers bloom faster by sheer will, nor can you eradicate every weed in a single day. Similarly, disciplining the mind is not about suppressing thoughts or emotions. It's about observing them with patience, understanding their origins, and redirecting your energy toward what truly matters. When you notice a weed of self-doubt sprouting, you don't berate yourself for its presence. Instead, you gently pull it out and refocus on the flowers you wish to grow. The mind's garden thrives when it is given consistent care. Daily practices like meditation, journaling, or mindful reflection serve as the tools of the gardener, helping you maintain the clarity and focus needed to cultivate a healthy mental landscape. These practices don't eliminate challenges or hardships, but they equip you with the resilience to navigate them. Just as a well-tended garden can withstand storms better than a neglected one, a disciplined mind is better prepared to handle life's uncertainties. But even the most diligent gardener knows that perfection is an illusion. There will always be weeds. There will always be weeds. There will always be days when the garden feels overgrown or unruly. The goal is not to create a flawless mind, but a fertile one capable of growth and renewal. This is where self-compassion becomes essential. To discipline the mind is not to punish it, but to nurture it, to recognize that progress comes through consistent effort, not relentless self-criticism. Over time, the results of this discipline become evident. Just as a flourishing garden attracts bees, butterflies, and birds, a disciplined mind radiates energy and positivity, drawing opportunities, insights, and connections. You become more focused, more present, and more attuned to the beauty of the world around you. Challenges that once felt overwhelming now appear as opportunities for growth. Negative thoughts lose their grip, replaced by a sense of calm and clarity. Ultimately, the mind's garden is a reflection of how we choose to live. By disciplining the mind, we are not only shaping our inner world, but also influencing how we engage with the outer world. The care and intention we bring to our thoughts ripple outward, affecting our actions, relationships, and experiences. Discipline, then, is not merely a practice, it is a way of being, a commitment to nurturing the best within ourselves so that we may flourish and thrive. Discipline begins in the present moment. It's easy to talk about big dreams or long-term plans, imagining how we might someday achieve greatness or overcome our struggles. Yet all transformation happens here and now, not in the abstract future. The present moment is the foundation upon which all progress is built, and anchoring ourselves in it is the first act of disciplining the mind. Without this awareness, we scatter our energy, constantly distracted by what has been or what might be, rather than engaging fully with what is. The mind has a tendency to dwell in the past or project into the future. It replays old mistakes, relives painful memories, or reimagines scenarios in an endless loop. Simultaneously, it races ahead, worrying about what could go wrong, chasing after hypothetical outcomes, or constructing fantasies that rarely align with reality. This ceaseless back and forth creates stress, confusion, and dissatisfaction, as we are rarely fully present with what is directly in front of us. Discipline is the practice of bringing the mind back to the now, again and again, like a gentle reminder to return home. Anchoring ourselves in the present moment does not mean ignoring the past or disregarding the future. Both have their value. The past offers lessons and the future provides direction. But when we allow our thoughts to be dominated by either, we lose the ability to act meaningfully in the present. Imagine trying to cross a river by jumping from stone to stone. If your focus is fixed on the stone behind you, you may lose your balance. If it is only on the distant shore, you may miss the next step. Success comes from steady attention to the stone beneath your feet, trusting that each step will bring you closer to your destination. This practice of presence begins with awareness. Often we move through life on autopilot, reacting to situations without fully understanding what we are doing or why. By cultivating awareness, we interrupt this cycle, observing our thoughts, emotions, and actions with curiosity and clarity. This observation is not judgmental. It's simply noticing. When we catch ourselves lost in worry or regret, we gently guide the mind back to the present, much like a shepherd herding a stray sheep. Over time, this act of returning becomes easier, transforming into a habit of mindfulness. The power of the present moment lies in its simplicity. Here there is no clutter of should or what if, there is only what is. By focusing on what we can do right now, we eliminate much of the noise that clouds our thinking. Decisions become clearer, actions more purposeful. The present moment offers us a direct path to engagement, free from the weight of past failures or the pressure of future expectations. It invites us to act decisively, to move with intention, and to experience life fully as it unfolds. Disciplining the mind to stay in the now does not mean that challenges will disappear. In fact, being present often reveals truths we might prefer to avoid: our fears, vulnerabilities, or discomforts. But this is precisely where growth happens. By facing the present moment, no matter how uncomfortable, we build resilience and courage. We learn to trust ourselves, not because we can control everything, but because we know we are capable of responding to whatever arises. The practice of presence also transforms how we experience joy. Many people chase happiness as if it is something to be found in the future, tied to achievements, possessions, or milestones. Yet joy is always available in the present, waiting to be noticed. A disciplined mind sees beauty in the ordinary: a breath of fresh air, the warmth of sunlight, the sound of laughter. These simple moments, often overlooked, become profound when we are fully present with them. Ultimately, living in the present moment is both an act of discipline and an act of liberation. It frees us from the burden of what we cannot change and the fear of what we cannot predict. It allows us to focus on what truly matters, to invest our energy in what we can control, and to savor the richness of life as it is. By anchoring ourselves in the now, we discover that this moment is enough, not because it is perfect, but because it is real, and in its reality lies infinite potential. Discipline does not mean rigidity. It is not about living life under strict rules, denying spontaneity, or constraining the natural flow of things. Instead, discipline is a dance, a balance between structure and surrender, effort and ease. To discipline your mind is to find harmony between focus and flexibility, to know when to push forward with intention and when to step back and let life unfold. Many people associate discipline with a kind of grim determination, a relentless adherence to rules or routines. They imagine it as something harsh or punishing, stripping life of its joy. But true discipline is not about control for its own sake. It is about cultivating a relationship with yourself and the world that allows you to live fully and authentically. It's the art of knowing when to act decisively and when to flow with the rhythm of life, much like a skilled dancer moving gracefully to the music. Consider the interplay of effort and ease. There are times in life when discipline requires intense focus and deliberate action. These are the moments when you must summon your willpower, set clear boundaries, and commit fully to a task or goal. Without this kind of effort, progress becomes impossible. Yet there are also times when discipline means letting go, trusting the process, embracing uncertainty, and allowing things to unfold naturally. Just as a wave builds energy before cresting and breaking, there is a natural rhythm to life, and part of discipline is learning to move in tune with it. This balance is not always easy to strike. Our minds are often pulled in opposing directions. On one hand, we may become overly rigid, clinging to routines or plans even when they no longer serve us. On the other hand, we may become too lax, avoiding structure altogether and drifting aimlessly. The dance of discipline lies in recognizing these tendencies and adjusting accordingly. When you feel yourself becoming too rigid, ask, "Can I let go?" When you find yourself drifting, ask, "Can I refocus?" In this way, discipline becomes a dynamic practice, responsive to the changing circumstances of life. The natural world offers countless examples of this balance. Think of a tree bending in the wind. It has strong roots anchoring it firmly in the ground, yet its branches sway and move with the breeze. If the tree were too rigid, it would snap. If it were too weak, it would be uprooted. The same principle applies to the human mind. Discipline provides the roots the stability and strength to stay grounded, but flexibility allows us to adapt and grow. Another way to understand this dynamic is through the practice of mindfulness. When we discipline our minds, we develop the ability to observe our thoughts, emotions, and actions without becoming consumed by them. This awareness helps us discern when to engage and when to release, when to strive and when to rest. For example, in the midst of a challenge, discipline might mean pushing yourself to persevere, knowing that your efforts will pay off. But it might also mean stepping back, recognizing that rest or a new perspective is what's needed to move forward effectively. The dance of discipline and surrender also teaches us to trust ourselves. Life is unpredictable, filled with both opportunities and obstacles, and we cannot control every outcome. But by cultivating discipline, we strengthen our ability to respond to whatever arises. This trust is not about having all the answers, it's about knowing that you are capable of navigating the unknown with resilience and grace. It's about finding a sense of peace in the balance between effort and acceptance. Ultimately, discipline is not a rigid set of rules, but a living practice. It evolves as we evolve, adapting to our changing needs, goals, and circumstances. It is a skill that allows us to engage with life, fully embracing both its challenges and its joys. When we discipline our minds, we create space for intentional action and spontaneous flow, for focused effort and the freedom to let go. This is the essence of the dance, moving through life with purpose and presence, balancing the structure that grounds us with the surrender that sets us free. Mastery over the mind is not achieved in grand, sweeping moments of inspiration, but through the power of small, consistent actions. It is tempting to believe that transformation comes in a single dramatic gesture, a sudden breakthrough where everything changes. However, true discipline is built in the quiet repetition of simple practices day after day. This consistency shapes the mind, reinforcing habits, beliefs, and perspectives that align with our values and goals. Like water carving through stone, the steady rhythm of daily effort has the power to reshape us profoundly. The human mind thrives on repetition. Every time we act, think, or respond in a certain way, we reinforce neural pathways that make it easier to repeat that behavior in the future. This is why habits, both good and bad, become so deeply ingrained. Discipline, then, is the conscious decision to choose actions that align with who we wish to become, knowing that each small step contributes to a larger transformation. It is not about perfection, but persistence, recognizing that progress is made not in leaps, but in steady, incremental strides. And consider the analogy of planting a seed. You don't expect a tree to grow overnight. Instead, you water it regularly, ensure it has sunlight, and nurture it with care. Some days it may seem as if nothing is happening, but beneath the surface roots are forming, anchoring the tree for future growth. Similarly, when you discipline your mind through consistent practice, whether it's meditation, journaling, exercise, or any other habit, you may not see immediate results. Yet over time, these practices strengthen your mental foundation, enabling resilience, clarity, and focus. The beauty of consistent practice lies in its simplicity. It doesn't require monumental effort every day, just a commitment to show up. Take the example of meditation. Sitting in stillness for even 5 minutes a day can transform the mind over time, helping you develop awareness and inner calm. The same principle applies to other areas of life. Writing a few sentences each morning can hone your creativity. Reading a single page daily can expand your knowledge. These small acts, seemingly insignificant in the moment, compound over weeks, months, and years, creating powerful shifts in how you think and live. However, consistency is not always easy. The mind naturally resists routine, seeking novelty and instant gratification. There will be days when motivation wanes, when distractions pull you away from your intentions, or when progress feels stagnant. This is where discipline becomes essential. It is the force that keeps you moving forward even when enthusiasm fades. Discipline reminds you that the effort itself is valuable, that showing up matters, even when the results are not immediately visible. There is also a subtle, transformative magic in consistency. It builds trust in yourself. Each time you honor your commitment to a practice, you reinforce the belief that you are capable of following through, even in the face of difficulty. This self-trust is foundational to a disciplined mind. It shifts your identity, allowing you to see yourself as someone who is reliable, persistent, and aligned with their values. Over time, this identity becomes self-reinforcing, making discipline not a struggle but a natural expression of who you are. Yet, consistent practice does not mean inflexibility. Life is dynamic and circumstances change. The key is to remain adaptable while maintaining the spirit of discipline. If your schedule becomes overwhelming or unexpected challenges arise, it's okay to adjust your practices without abandoning them entirely. Discipline is not about rigid adherence to rules, but about staying connected to your intentions, finding creative ways to continue nurturing your mind even in the face of obstacles. Ultimately, the power of consistent practice lies in its cumulative effect. No single act of discipline may feel transformative in itself, but together they create a foundation for growth, clarity, and freedom. The small decisions you make each day to meditate, to journal, to pause and breathe are not isolated moments. They are threads in a larger tapestry, weaving together a life of intention and purpose. This is the essence of disciplining the mind, a commitment to the small, steady actions that, over time, lead to profound and lasting change. Life is not a destination but a dance, a rhythm that carries us through highs and lows, joys and struggles. To quit is to step out of that rhythm, to deny yourself the richness of the journey. Mistakes and failures are not obstacles, they are waves in the ocean of growth, propelling you forward. Let go of the illusion of control and perfection, for life reveals its beauty when we trust the process. Resilience is not forceful, it is natural, like a river carving its path through stone. In this very moment lies your power. Stay here, keep moving, and discover the strength within. Life is not a destination, but a dance, a fluid and ever-changing rhythm that carries us through the spectrum of experiences. It is tempting to think that success or fulfillment lies at some distant endpoint, but that is a misunderstanding of the true nature of life. Each step, each moment, is as significant as the next. To quit is to step out of this rhythm, to stop engaging with the dance, and in doing so, to deprive yourself of the richness that life has to offer. Quitting often comes when we fixate too much on the goal, the outcome, or the reward, losing sight of the beauty inherent in the process itself. What if the very challenges you face, the hurdles that seem insurmountable, are not barriers at all, but invitations to grow, to expand, to transform? The failure, you see, is not the enemy. In fact, it is a necessary companion on the journey of life. Just as waves rise and fall, failure is part of the natural ebb and flow of growth. It is through mistakes, setbacks, and moments of despair that we gain the insights and strength to move forward. To quit, however, is to refuse the lesson, to step out of the ocean and watch the waves from the shore, never allowing yourself to be carried by their transformative power. The fear of failure is often what drives us to consider giving up, but this fear is an illusion, a mirage that clouds our perspective. The truth is, failure is not something to avoid, it is something to embody it. Each fall teaches you how to rise. Each misstep shows you a better way. Without failure, there can be no progress, no discovery, no becoming. Our tendency to quit often stems from a desperate need for control. We want certainty, guarantees, and a clear map of how everything will unfold. But life doesn't work that way. It's an unpredictable dance, a melody we cannot always anticipate or direct. The need for control creates tension, and when the results don't align with our expectations, we feel disheartened. But what if we let go of this illusion of control? What if we allowed ourselves to flow with life instead of resisting it? When we surrender to the process, we begin to see that everything is unfolding as it should, even when it feels messy or uncertain. The challenges you face are not there to break you, but to shape you into the person you are meant to be. Let go of the need to have it all figured out. Trust the process, and you'll discover that even in the chaos there is a profound order. Resilience is not about brute force or stubbornness, it is about harmony with life's natural flow. Think of a river carving its way through a mountain. It doesn't rush or fight its way forward, it flows patiently and persistently until it creates a path. This is the power of resilience, not in resistance but in persistence. To keep going doesn't mean you must force yourself to endure, it means finding the rhythm that works for you and allowing yourself to move with it. The challenges may feel overwhelming, but just as the river eventually shapes the stone, your persistence will shape you. With time and effort, what once seemed impossible becomes not only possible but inevitable. In the end, the key to not quitting lies in the present moment. So often we quit because we become consumed by the enormity of the task ahead or haunted by the failures of the past. But neither the future nor the past holds any power over you. It is in the now that you can act, decide, and create. Focus on this moment, on the step you can take right now, however small it may be. Each moment builds on the one before it, creating momentum that propels you forward. The idea of quitting dissipates when you bring your attention to the present, because in this moment you are capable. You are enough. The journey is not something to endure, it is something to experience, to live fully, to cherish. Life is calling you to keep going, to trust the dance, to embrace the journey with all its imperfections and uncertainties. Don't quit, for within the rhythm of persistence lies the key to your growth, your strength, and your true self. Failure is not the enemy. It never has been. In fact, failure is the essence of growth, the teacher that sharpens and refines us. Life's most transformative lessons are born from our mistakes, from those moments when things didn't go as planned. Yet many of us recoil at the mere thought of failure, seeing it as a sign of weakness, as evidence that we aren't good enough or capable enough. But what if failure is not a judgment but a gift? What if every setback you encounter is a step forward in disguise, a crucial piece of the puzzle that is shaping you into something extraordinary? To quit because of failure is to miss out on the wisdom it has to offer. It's like turning away from a mirror when what you see feels uncomfortable, instead of realizing that the reflection holds the key to change. Failure doesn't stop you, your perception of it does. Often we are so caught up in the fear of failing that we never give ourselves the chance to discover what lies on the other side. But failure is not a wall, it's a doorway. Every stumble, every misstep, every roadblock is an invitation to try again, to do better, to approach things with fresh eyes. And with each attempt you grow stronger, wiser, and more resilient. To quit is to close that door, to walk away before the magic happens. It's important to remember that no one achieves greatness without moments of failure. The artist's masterpiece begins with countless failed sketches. The inventor's breakthrough emerges from experiments that went wrong. These stories are not exceptions, they are the rule. Failure is the common thread that unites all who dare to pursue something meaningful. The challenge lies in how we interpret failure. Many see it as final, as a definitive end to the story they're trying to write. But what if failure is not the end? What if it is simply a comma, a pause, a moment to regroup and realign? The mistake is not in failing, but in stopping, in allowing that failure to convince you that your journey is over. In truth, failure is a redirection, a signal that says, not this way, try another. It's not about abandoning the goal, but finding another path to reach it. Imagine what the world would look like if every great thinker, artist, or leader had quit after their first failure. Imagine the symphonies unwritten, the inventions unrealized, the dreams left unfulfilled. The fear of failure often stems from a deeper fear, the fear of the unknown. When we fail, we lose control, and that loss can feel terrifying. But control is an illusion. Life is unpredictable, a series of twists and turns that we can never fully anticipate. To cling to control is to resist the very nature of existence. Instead of fearing failure, we must learn to flow with it, to see it as part of the process rather than a detour. Like a river navigating its way through the landscape, failure is simply the bends and curves that guide you toward your destination. You don't need to have all the answers, you only need to trust that the journey will reveal them in time. When you fail, it is not the end of your story, it is the beginning of a new chapter. Failure is the spark that ignites innovation, the pressure that forms diamonds. It's not a mark of inadequacy, but a testament to your courage, to your willingness to try and risk and learn. And to quit in the face of failure is to abandon the opportunity for transformation. It's easy to look at failure and feel defeated, to see it as proof that you're not enough. But failure doesn't define you, your response to it does. Do you give up, or do you stand back up? Do you let failure diminish you, or do you let it build you into something greater? Every failure carries with it a lesson, and every lesson brings you closer to who you are meant to be. To quit is to stop short of discovering that potential, to rob yourself of the chance to rise stronger than before. The journey is not about avoiding failure, but about navigating through it, about finding the resilience within to keep moving forward. When you embrace failure, you also embrace the possibility of success, because the two are inseparable. One cannot exist without the other. So don't quit. Don't let failure deter you. Instead, let it fuel you. Let it be the reminder that you are still in the game, still moving, still learning. Failure is not the end, it's the beginning of something extraordinary. The need for control is one of the greatest illusions we face. We often convince ourselves that we must have a perfect plan, that every step must be carefully orchestrated, and that life should unfold exactly as we envision. When it doesn't, the impulse to quit can feel overwhelming. But what if control isn't the key to success? What if it's not even possible? Life is unpredictable by its very nature, a vast and intricate web of interconnected events that we can never fully comprehend. Clinging to control is like trying to hold water in your hands. The tighter you grip, the more it slips away. Quitting often arises not from failure itself, but from the frustration of life not aligning with our expectations. This frustration blinds us to the reality that the unexpected is often where the magic happens. Letting go of control doesn't mean giving up, it means surrendering to the process. It's about trusting that even when things seem chaotic or uncertain, there is a larger pattern at work. Just as a river doesn't need to see its destination to keep flowing, we don't need to have every answer to keep moving forward. Life has a way of revealing itself one step at a time, and the only way to discover what lies ahead is to take that next step. The need for control keeps us stagnant, rooted in fear of the unknown. But when we release that need, we free ourselves to experience the full range of what life has to offer. The challenges, the surprises, the moments of joy and sorrow, all of it becomes part of a larger journey that shapes us in ways we cannot yet understand. The irony of control is that it often limits us. When we insist on sticking to a rigid plan, we close ourselves off to possibilities we couldn't have imagined. How many times has life surprised you with something better than you had planned? How many times has a detour led to a discovery that enriched your life in unexpected ways? To quit because things didn't go as planned is to miss out on these moments of serendipity. It's like abandoning a book halfway through because the plot took an unexpected turn. But the twists and turns are where the story comes alive. They challenge the characters, push them to grow, and ultimately lead to an ending far more meaningful than anything they could have anticipated. Resilience isn't about rigidly sticking to a plan, no matter what. It's about adapting, flowing, and finding your way even when the path is unclear. Think of a tree in the wind. It bends and sways, yielding to the force of the storm, but it doesn't break. Its flexibility is its strength. The same is true for us. Life's challenges will push and pull us in ways we don't always expect, but if we remain flexible, if we allow ourselves to bend without breaking, we can weather any storm. Quitting is like snapping under pressure, a refusal to adapt to the winds of change. But when we stay in the game, when we embrace the uncertainty and trust in the process, we discover a strength we didn't know we had. In every moment of doubt, when the urge to quit feels strongest, ask yourself, what is it I'm really afraid of? Is it failure, or is it the unknown? Is it discomfort, or is it the fear of letting go of control? Often the obstacles we think are external are really internal. The battles we fight are within ourselves against our own fears, doubts, and insecurities. But the beauty of life is that it's not about conquering these fears all at once. It's about facing them one step at a time, about finding the courage to move forward even when the path is uncertain. Each step you take is a victory. Each moment you persist is proof of your strength. Letting go of control doesn't mean abandoning your dreams. It means approaching them with trust, curiosity, and openness. It means recognizing that the journey will not always be linear, that there will be detours and surprises along the way. But these detours are not setbacks, they are part of the adventure. They are the moments that shape you, teach you, and prepare you for what lies ahead. To quit is to deny yourself the opportunity to see where the journey might lead. It's to close the book before the story has had a chance to unfold. So keep going. Release the need for control and embrace the uncertainty. Trust that life, in all its unpredictability, is guiding you towards something meaningful. You don't need to see the entire path to take the next step. You don't need to have all the answers to move forward. All you need is the courage to keep flowing, like the river, trusting that every twist and turn is part of a greater journey. Don't quit, because the best parts of the story are often the ones you can't yet see. Resilience is not about force. It's not about clenching your fists, digging in your heels, or trying to overpower life's challenges. Resilience is something far subtler, far more profound. It is the quiet strength that comes from knowing you are capable of enduring whatever comes your way. It is the steady heartbeat of persistence that says, keep going even when everything around you seems to be falling apart. Think of a river. It doesn't rage against the rocks that block its path. It doesn't despair when the journey becomes difficult or winding. Instead, it flows. It adapts. It finds a way through, around, or even over obstacles, carving its path over time. The power of the river lies in its persistence, not in its force. And the same is true for us. And to quit is to stop flowing, to halt your progress, and to abandon the journey before you've seen where it might lead. It's easy to feel like quitting when the challenges seem too great, when the obstacles appear immovable. But if you look closely, you'll see that nothing in nature happens all at once. Mountains are not shaped in a day, and rivers do not carve their paths in a moment. Life is a process, a gradual unfolding of potential. The difficulties you face are not there to stop you, they are there to shape you. Just as the river's journey makes it stronger, carving deep valleys and fertile plains, your persistence shapes you into the person you are meant to be. Every challenge you overcome adds to your strength, your wisdom, and your resilience. Quitting often comes when we forget this. We become so focused on the immediate discomfort or difficulty that we lose sight of the bigger picture. But what if every challenge is part of a larger story? What if the very things that make you want to quit are the things that will eventually lead you to growth, fulfillment, and success? Life is not meant to be easy, it's meant to be meaningful. The moments that test you, that push you to your limits, are the moments that define you. They are the moments that reveal your true strength. To quit is to turn away from this opportunity, to refuse the gift of growth that life is offering you. Resilience is not about never feeling doubt, fear, or frustration. Those emotions are natural, they are part of the human experience. Resilience is about what you do despite those feelings. It's about taking one more step even when you're tired. It's about trying again even after you've failed. It's about trusting that the path will become clearer as you walk it, even if it feels uncertain now. The most remarkable people in history, those who achieved greatness and left a lasting impact, were not free from doubt or fear. They were simply people who kept going despite it. They understood that resilience is not about being unshakable, it's about being unbreakable. When you feel like quitting, pause and consider the alternative. What happens if you stop now? What happens if you give up? Quitting doesn't make the challenges go away, it simply ensures that you won't overcome them. It locks you into a place of stagnation, where the what-ifs and could-have-beens linger indefinitely. The regret of quitting is far heavier than the temporary discomfort of continuing. To quit is to rob yourself of the opportunity to see what lies on the other side of the struggle. It's to abandon the potential for growth, for triumph, for transformation. Every great achievement is built on a foundation of persistence. The most beautiful paintings were created through countless strokes of the brush, many of which didn't go as planned. The most inspiring stories are filled with moments of doubt and failure, times when giving up seemed like the easiest option. But the difference between those who succeed and those who don't is not talent or luck, it's the willingness to keep going. It's the quiet determination to persist, to adapt, and to keep moving forward no matter how hard it gets. There is a deep power in resilience, a power that grows with every step you take. Each time you choose not to quit, you reinforce your strength. Each time you push through the discomfort, you expand your capacity for growth. Resilience is like a muscle, it becomes stronger the more you use it. And just like a river carving through stone, your persistence will leave a mark. It will shape your life in ways you can't yet imagine. The obstacles that feel overwhelming now will become part of your story, testaments to your strength and perseverance. So when you feel the urge to quit, remember the river. Remember that resilience is not about force, but about flow. It's about moving forward, no matter how small the step, and trusting that each step brings you closer to your goal. Life is not a sprint, it's a marathon. It's not about how fast you go, but about how far you're willing to journey. Don't quit, because the path you're on, no matter how difficult, is leading you somewhere extraordinary. Keep flowing, keep moving, and trust that the best is yet to come. The present moment holds an immense power, yet it's often overlooked. When you think about quitting, what is it that overwhelms you? Is it the weight of the journey ahead, the distance you believe you still have to travel? Or perhaps it's the echoes of past failures, mistakes that you carry like heavy stones in your mind. But neither the future nor the past is where your power resides. The future is an endless expanse of uncertainty, and the past is an unchangeable record. The only place where you have the ability to act, to change, to grow is here and now. Quitting happens when we lose touch with the present, when we allow the enormity of what's next or the regret of what's behind to paralyze us. But in this moment right now, you are capable. You can take one more step. You can choose to continue. Often we overcomplicate our challenges, seeing them as towering mountains that seem impossible to climb. But a mountain isn't conquered in one great leap, it's climbed step by step, moment by moment. Each small, deliberate movement brings you closer to the summit. The same is true for any goal, any dream, any struggle. When you focus too much on the scale of the mountain, the thought of quitting becomes almost inevitable. But if you bring your attention to the ground beneath your feet, to the step you can take right now, the idea of quitting loses its power. You don't need to figure out the entire journey, you only need to commit to this moment, to this step. The present moment is a refuge from doubt and fear. When you focus fully on the now, you stop feeding the worries that make quitting seem like the easiest option. Fear thrives in the unknown, what if I fail? What if this doesn't work out? But in the present, there is no room for those fears. There is only action, only the choice to keep going. Every great achievement, every moment of triumph was built from a series of present moments. The artist creates their masterpiece one brushstroke at a time. The writer pens their story one word at a time. The builder constructs their vision one brick at a time. You are no different. Whatever you are striving for, whatever challenge you are facing, it is built one moment at a time. Quitting is often the result of forgetting this truth. We become so consumed by the end goal or so fixated on what went wrong in the past that we lose sight of what we can do now. But the present is all we ever truly have. It's the place where change happens, where progress is made, where resilience is built. To quit is to step out of this moment, to disconnect from the power you hold right now. It's an act of surrender, not to the challenge, but to the illusion that you cannot overcome it. Yet the truth is, you are far more capable than you realize. You've already faced so much, endured so much, and yet here you are, still standing, still moving. That is proof of your strength. Imagine what could happen if you chose to stay in the moment. Imagine the progress you could make if, instead of worrying about the entire journey, you focused solely on the step you could take right now. It doesn't have to be a giant leap. It doesn't have to be perfect. It only has to be forward. One step, one action, one decision to persist can set the course for extraordinary change. The journey may be long and the challenges may be great, but each small victory in the present moment builds momentum. Over time, those small victories add up to something far greater than you could have imagined. When you feel like quitting, pause. Breathe. Bring yourself back to the present. Remind yourself that you don't need to have everything figured out. You don't need to conquer the mountain today. You only need to take the next step. The present moment is not just a passing instant, it is the foundation of your life. What you do with it determines the path ahead. Each time you choose to stay, to keep going, to take one more step, you are building the future you dream of. You are proving to yourself that you are stronger than the doubts, braver than the fears, and more resilient than the challenges. The idea of quitting fades when you live fully in the present, because you realize that you are always in motion, always moving forward. Even the smallest steps, taken consistently, will lead to transformation. Trust in the power of now. Trust in your ability to act, to adapt, to persevere. The path ahead will reveal itself as you walk it, and the challenges you face will become the stories of your triumphs. Don't quit. Stay in the moment, take the next step, and let the journey unfold. Your power is here in this moment, waiting for you to claim it.